Billy Ocean, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So Hollywood superstar Kiefer Sutherland coming up on this show a little bit later on. But in the meantime, this year, Arch is making a decade of inspiring Oxfordshire children to read. Assisted Reading for Children recruits, trains and supports volunteers who go into primary schools and bring books to life for hundreds of children across the county. And it can have a lasting impact. Jonathon Williams came in to tell me about his memories of being helped to learn to read by volunteer Anne. Why? He was only a child. Little did he know, we had a surprise in store.
I think for me it was the fact that I had nobody at school to kind of give me guidance. A lot of the teachers at my school when I was 9, 10, 11 kind of focused their energy on other pupils. And I kind of fell to the background and didn't feel like I had anyone to reach out to and to guide me with kind of something that I struggled with.
Was there any particular reason why you did struggle with reading?
Until I had somebody from the volunteer system come and kind of show me, there's reading's exciting. There's different elements of reading.
That was the key that unlocked the door for you?
Yeah, massively. To me at school, I think reading at the first instance, it was that reading was just something you had to do. It wasn't enjoyable, but as soon as kind of Anne, who was my volunteer, she came through and she kind of, I don't know, say lit up, but she kind of gave me those elements of reading that became exciting.
How did she do that? How did she communicate to you that reading was at the time and certainly is exciting?
I think as well as just giving me the time and her focus and showing that someone was interested, it was someone to be there that gave her time, that was interested in to hear me reading. I think that was the main thing. It wasn't just me reading for the sake of it. She was really interested in seeing how I spoke, seeing how I read through a story and pulled out different characters or used these different elements of the story.
It sounds like as well that, despite the fact that you recognised yourself as a sort of 9, 10-year-old that you were struggling with reading, you didn't want to struggle. You had the will to succeed, to actually do it better. You wanted to find that way.
Yeah, and I think to see other children do really well at reading, and you're kind of struggling, you always want to achieve what other pupils are achieving. And to do that, to just focus and take extra time in doing that, has brought me on kind of leaps and bounds from that young age.
That would have impacted all the other subjects, clearly, that you were learning as well at the time.
Yeah, massively. I mean, I think from when I had that extra help, other teachers started to kind of take interest in me and help me along with things. So English, for me, was, writing was a struggle, but it became something that I was doing really well at. And, writing stories, writing kind of poems, things like that, it became really expressive for myself.
Tell me what it was like the first day when Anne Collier came in to meet you and started working with you.
I would say nervous, because there was always a nervous energy. There was always a nervous energy when you're in class and when you're asked to stand up and speak and stand up. And it was nervous but exciting as well, I think, because there was someone that's willing to come along and spend their time and give their time to you. She read parts of the book as well as I did. She kind of lifted words off the page, showed me a different way of kind of reading, I think.
How long's it been since you've seen Anne? And I mean, what would you say to her?
Other than thank you, I think that would be the most basic way of saying things. But just, it's a brilliant thing for these guys to be doing, and for Anne especially, to give up her time and to volunteer her time to children and help them read and let them kind of express.
Can I just stop you there? Because you can actually say it to her face right now, because she's just being brought into the studio.
Hello, how are you?
What a surprise, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
This is quite some reunion. I think I'm getting a bit teary here. Anne, it's lovely to see you. Welcome.
It's very kind of you to have me. It's good to see Jonathon again.
How long has it been since you last saw each other?
Quite a while.
You've just greeted each other with a hug, which was a lovely moment.
Nice.
I just asked Jonathon, Anne, what he would say to you, because clearly you've had a huge impact. What he said was that you made reading exciting for him.
Yes, I mean, that is what Arch encourages us to do. I just love reading. I love books, and one wants to pass it on to them. It's brilliant working with the young, and especially seeing someone who's been so successful as Jonathon.
What's it like? You're a little bit taken aback, Jonathon, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's it like to see Anne?
Yeah, very strange. Lovely though. But I think because I was at such a young age, now I'm 28, I was around 9 or 10 then.
He's grown into a very handsome young man.
Yes, I wouldn't have recognised him if I'd met him in the street.
He's got a bit more facial hair.
Yes,
I asked Jonathon what the first day was like when he met you and you were brought in by Arch to work with him. What was it like for you?
Well, I think it must have been one of my first encounters with any of the children. I think I was probably very nervous, shy, wasn't quite sure how it was going to work out. Now I've got much more experience and I feel far more confident when I meet them, and I love talking to the children.
You've been doing this for a very, very long time, haven't you?
19 years.
So other than the fact, Anne, that you love reading, why else do you volunteer, and why have you volunteered for, nearly 2 decades?
Well, I retired at that stage and we'd been living and working in a school, my husband and I, and just losing contact with the young was a horrible thought. I mean, it really has made my retirement, being able to go and read with 3 children twice a week.
It's a bit of a commitment as well, but I would imagine so rewarding. Do you remember, Jonathon, the books that you used to read with Anne?
I don't remember hugely, but obviously after doing those sessions and then coming away and then coming back and being at home and seeing my brothers, he had Goosebump books and like Horrible Histories and those things, then I started to kind of read on and take on from there. So those would have been kind of books that I loved reading after that time. And
you became excited by reading, because that was the key word that you used, that Anne made it exciting, and then you did get excited by the kind of books that you were reading, the stories, the worlds that you were entering.
Yeah, and it lets your imagination run. I think it's not just reading for the sake of it, it's letting when you read, just let your imagination kind of run and picture how that book kind of reads to you, and what's happening within that book as well. So yeah, I think those are really important things that came from it.
You'll hear more from Anne and Jonathon in just a few moments' time as Arch marks a decade of inspiring Oxfordshire children to read. It's BBC Radio Oxford. A little later, don't forget, Kiefer Sutherland coming up on the show.
I would take the stars out of the sky for you, stop the rain from falling if you ask me to. I'd do anything for you, your wish is my command. I could move a mountain when your hand is in my hand. Words could not express how much you mean to me. There must be some other way to make you see. If it takes my heart and soul, you know I'd pay the price. Everything that I possess, I'd gladly sacrifice. Oh, you to me are everything, the sweetest song that I could sing. Oh, baby, oh, baby. To you, I guess I'm just a clown who picks you up each time you're down. Oh, baby, oh, baby. You give me just a taste of love to build my hopes upon. You know you got the power, girl, to keep me holding on. So now you got the best of me. Come on and take the rest of me, oh baby. Though you're close to me, we seem so far apart. Maybe given time, you'll have a change of heart. If it takes forever, girl, then I'm prepared to wait. The day you give your love to me won't be a day too late. Oh, you to me are everything, the sweetest song that I can sing. Oh, baby, oh, baby. To you, I guess I'm just a clown who picks you up each time you're down. Oh, baby, oh, baby. You give me just a taste of love to build my hopes upon.
You to me are everything, the sweetest song that I could sing, oh baby. That's The Real Thing. It's BBC Radio Oxford. If I mentioned Kiefer Sutherland, yeah, he's on the show a little bit later on. Big Hollywood star. My guests at the moment, Arch volunteer Anne and Jonathon, one of the many children that Anne has helped to learn to read. We reunited them in the studio. It was a very emotional moment, actually, to tell us about their memories of being involved with the organisation. It's been a long time since they've seen each other, so I asked Jonathon to fill Anne in on the past 5 years.
The last 5 years. I'm now, at the moment, a volunteer, so a special constable for Thames Valley Police. So maybe in a way, seeing someone volunteer, give their time to me, has impacted me moving forward subconsciously to then volunteer and give my time to other people.
I think that's brilliant.
This is the impact you've had on this
Well,
young man.
is it me? I mean, I'm just a very small part of Jonathan's
You've got to take some
life.
credit. You've got to take some credit because at that time, during those very formative years, when children just want that one-to-one time, because they might not get it from their parents. I'm not saying that, you didn't
would
get
have
it.
done.
But
Jonathan would have
He
done.
absolutely would have done, but some children don't, and you must see that all the time.
Oh, I
Anne.
do.
But when
I do,
children want to
yes.
be recognised as individuals, and often in big classrooms, that's just not the case. So yes, you have played a very important part in Jonathan's future. Is that fair to say, Jonathan?
100%, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from when I left school, I moved on to obviously second school and then went on to drama school, so trained as an actor, which, is a huge amount of demanding work within kind of text and reading and everything from monologues and things like that. So, yeah, of course, it's triggered something within myself. It's given me that confidence to then move on and to go and do that. So,
And actually, confidence is a big word as well, because I think some children, they just need to be kind of bigged up a little bit and actually given the confidence so they can achieve these things rather than being told, no, you're no good at that, you can't do that, back of the classroom, which, you weren't being told, but actually you felt that you should place yourself at the back of the classroom because you were just struggling. But actually, Anne built up your confidence.
Confidence, yeah, massively. And there's very few people along the line that have done that for me. I could count on a single hand that have given me that time and given me that confidence to kind of send me on my way. Everything's built me as a character and as a person. So, yeah, it's all definitely helped.
Would you have been an actor had you not got the help from Arch?
Yes.
Probably. But whether it would have been that early that I would have found that interest, I don't know.
You believed in Jonathon as a young man, didn't you?
I did, yes. This one-to-one, you get to know them, you have long conversations with them. You're not reading all the time, are you?
No.
What books do you read now, Jonathon?
I read plays more than books, which I should probably say I read loads of books, but I don't. I read plays. Big fan of Patrick Marber. I just find, obviously, because that's what I train doing, that's what I love doing. So if I'm on holiday, I won't read a book, I'll read a play, which I wish I would pick up more books, and I'm sure I will. But yeah, it's still, to me, it's still reading and it's still learning.
Well, that's it. It doesn't matter what the children read, does it, Anne? As long as they're reading.
No, we've read some dreadful books with some children, but it's got them going.
What would you like to ask Anne, Jonathon?
How long do you think you'll carry on doing it for?
For as long as I can. As you know, I left Stanton Harcourt 5 years ago, and I'm now in my own village school in Standlake, which is lovely. I would like to go on for as long as I can, but we shall have to see. I'm growing very old.
No, you're not.
I am.
Look at the twinkle in your eye, Anne.
Well, it's them that keep you young.
I think the intergenerational kind of relationships are really, really important.
Very important.
As much as you are fantastic for the children, they're fantastic for you too.
Oh, it's brilliant. I've got one little girl at the moment who is just an absolute delight, and she will look ahead in a book and we will discuss it, and it's just an absolute delight to be with her.
Obviously, Anne, as an individual, means an awful lot to you, Jonathon. But what about Arch as an institution, as a body? I mean, what does the organisation mean to you?
To me, the fact that it's there and it's there for other children, long may it continue. I hope that people keep volunteering their time to the cause, because it is really great. To me, it just means a chance as a child to be able to go forward, have some extra time with someone, and put some focus into something that's really good.
What do you want to say to, because of course you've been a volunteer and they couldn't do it without people like you, but what do you want to say to them as an organisation? Because they have achieved, with volunteers like you, they have changed children's outcomes, they have achieved so much in the years that they've been going.
They're a brilliant team. They're very inspirational. If anything goes wrong, they're there to back you up instantly. And and they come up with wonderful solutions to problems. I think it's very good and it's very well organised.
They're brilliant human beings, actually.
And being a volunteer is just brilliant.
It's been so good to have you both here in the studio. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, no, it's been wonderful and a really nice surprise.
Jonathon and congratulations to Arch, celebrating its 10th anniversary this year.